Okay, this is a lesson that I think a lot of you have been arguing with me about, and I finally get to give you the definition so you can cut it out. Okay. We are going to look at 3 special parallelograms today. So a rhombus, a rectangle, and a square. They are all parallelograms. With special properties. Does anybody know what a rhombus is? Raise your hands.
It's like
Drew? Oh my gosh, you read it.
we have to write that. Right under
Square that's rotated.
we just draw an arrow.
Okay, so how about we highlight 4 congruent sides? A rhombus has 4 congruent sides. It's not just a square rotated, okay? Because it doesn't have to have 90-degree angles, okay? A rectangle is a parallelogram with 4 right angles. Yes. Yes. Do you not know what a parallelogram is?
No, I'm saying like isn't a rectangle just like a square, but like longer on the top?
I'm confused about what you're trying to
I
ask.
don't know, I just like, why does it have to be a parallelogram? Like, I get it is, so why does it have to be a definition? I just don't like definitions.
So here's the deal. What I need you to understand is that a rhombus, a parallelogram, and a square have the same properties that a parallelogram does. Their opposite sides are parallel. Their diagonals bisect each other. Their opposite angles are congruent. Their consecutive angles are supplementary. But now we have more special properties to add on. Okay, so I'm using parallelogram in the definition because it still has all of those properties that we worked on with our quiz. Okay. A square has 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. So a square is a special parallelogram that can be considered a type of rhombus. It can also be considered a type of rectangle. Do you see what I'm saying?
So a square is a rectangle and a rhombus, and but a rhombus and a rectangles are not squares.
Correct. All right, so a rhombus has 4 congruent sides. So this is an if and only if statement. So if it has 4 congruent sides, we know if it's a rhombus. If it's a rhombus, we know it has 4 congruent sides. Okay, I see a couple people without their student journals. If you don't have your student journal, then you should be writing this in a notebook somewhere. If you have your student journal, get it out. Okay. A quadrilateral is a rectangle if and only if it has 4 right angles. So if it has 4 right angles, we know if it's a rectangle. If it's a rectangle, we know it has 4 right angles. This is so amazing, right? Okay. Next page. A quadrilateral is a square if and only if it is a rhombus and a rectangle. Okay, these are boring. You're bored. I'm sorry. Let's get more exciting. No.
Someday we should do that,
We've done it. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I would never do
And there was a time where the pigeon came to see us. Now, this is important. If you have a rhombus, the diagonals are perpendicular. That is important. If you have a parallelogram whose diagonals are perpendicular, you have a rhombus. If you have a rhombus, the diagonals are perpendicular. I don't know. I think we like jumped around. Okay. Now, a rhombus also has diagonals that bisect the opposite angles. So what I want you to notice is that a rhombus has, so one rhombus, two rhombi. So in a rhombus, the diagonals are number one, perpendicular. Number two, they bisect the opposite angles. So like these two angles are congruent, these two angles are congruent, they bisect. These two angles get split in half, this angle gets split in half. Do you see that? Maybe I should draw a picture. You don't have to. Okay, so if this whole angle is 110 degrees, then so is this A, but then these two would get split equally, 55, 55. Yes.
So, okay, so the left 55, if that one's 50, wait. Okay, so let's say the left 55 is like 47 and the upper is like something else.
Then it's not a rhombus.
Wait, no, but like, is the one on the 110.
This
that
matches
one?
this.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if this angle is 110, what is this?
70.
That's only if they're all 90.
So this is 35 and 35.
Wait, so
And oh my goodness, 55 plus 35 plus 90
so it is a right angle.
equals 180. It has to be, yes.
Are they all right angles?
Yes. In a rhombus, this is always going to be 90 degrees. Yeah, because this is perpendicular. That's what perpendicular means. Okay, now a rectangle. A rectangle has diagonals that are congruent. So those two diagonals are congruent. What else is true about a parallelogram's diagonals? They bisect each other. So not only is AC congruent to BD, but these little pieces are going to be congruent. Okay. So in a square, our diagonals would be congruent, perpendicular, and bisect, okay? So let's break this down. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. I want to look at 3 through 5. The next page, that one. Okay. We have a rhombus. We have a rhombus.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's think about what a rhombus means. We have 4 sides that are congruent. So go ahead and label all of these are 9. Okay. We also know that in a rhombus, the diagonals are? Nope. Perpendicular. We're we're not in triangles. Yeah, that's only in a triangle. Okay, so we have a 90-degree angle right here. And you also said that these bisect the angles. So if this is 44, then this is also 44. Okay. So if I ask you for BC, BC is 9. AE and EC would be congruent because a rhombus is a special parallelogram. Remember, our diagonals are bisecting each other. So if AE is 7, what's AC? 14. AC is 14. Okay. Now, ADC. ADC. We know that this guy right here is 88. What?
What's the 90?
Wait, I know I solved it.
I know too.
92.
There's 2 different ways we can go about looking at it. So either we look at this as a right triangle to help us, or we look at this as a parallelogram and consecutive angles are supplementary. So if this is 88, this is 92.
How does that make sense? Wait, it's 8. What's it? What is it asking for?
This.
Oh, I thought it was asking for ADE. Oh, because I thought,
Okay.
I thought,
Okay. Now, I have a question for you. What if I asked you, Addison Dale, do not. What if I asked you for the measure of DE? Right, what would we have to do to solve for the measure of DE? We would have to use the Pythagorean theorem. Because this is a right triangle. If I wanted to solve for this side right here.
I didn't know which one's that.
The hypotenuse is across from the right angle.
We already know it's 9, right?
We know the hypotenuse is 9. We know one leg is 7. We're solving for another leg. No. In a square. No. Okay. Let's look at 6 through 8. We have a rectangle. I'm about to start writing names on the boards for detentions. Okay. In a rectangle, we know that we have 90-degree angles. We also know that our diagonals are congruent. Okay. So if EG is 17, what's HF? Also 17. Okay. Number 6 is asking for FHG. Okay. Well, I know that this is 90 degrees. So this guy is what, 59? Okay. Okay. So it says EG is 17. Okay. Now for number 8, we have E, F, H. What's that one?
59.
Also 59. Okay. Jonah, what if I asked you for IH? FH is 17. What's IH? Okay, Bryce, how did you get 8.5?
17 divided by 2.
Okay, the diagonals bisect each other because it's a parallelogram. All right, let's look at a square. Hey guys, every time you're working with a square, what's this angle right here? 45, 45.
Everything is 45. So square is
Oh, but this one is 90. Okay. Now, if MK is 1/2, what is PK? PKN. PKN. 90. MNK. MNK. 45. Okay. Get your whiteboards. That's fine. I'll give you a worksheet for homework. Okay. Okay, you are going to have a one-word answer. It's going to be always, sometimes, or never. The diagonals of a parallelogram are blank equal, always, sometimes, or never. Shh. The diagonals of a parallelogram are
Are you talking about these? It's these ones.
Out of every single
parallelogram. Let me see. Okay, Carson. When does a parallelogram have? When does a parallelogram have equal sides? Carson, equal diagonals? No, they always bisect each other. When it's a rectangle. When it's a rectangle. When it's a rectangle and a square, we have diagonals that are equal. But a normal parallelogram or a rhombus, nope, nope, nope. Okay. All right, go ahead and erase. Okay. The diagonals of a rectangle are perpendicular. Can you focus on this and not making circles?
Yeah.
Show me. Show me.
I feel like I looked at someone else.
What?
Okay. Okay. I really love how competitive you are, but you need to stop making noise. If a rectangle is a square, then we have perpendicular diagonals. But in a normal rectangle, our diagonals are congruent, but not perpendicular. Okay? But if a rectangle is a square, that condition would be met. Okay? All right. Two pairs of consecutive sides of a rhombus are how often equal? Two pairs of consecutive sides of a rhombus.
Drew.
Sides of a rhombus.
Never.
Show me.
That's a trick question. It's never.
Always.
What?
It's
Never. The rhombus consecutive is like.
Okay, Adri, what's the definition of a rhombus?
Equal size.
No, I'm serious. I want you to tell me. No. What's the definition of a rhombus?
Oh, I got it right.
With four congruent sides. All the sides are congruent, people. All right, this is not good. Parallelograms are how often squares? Why are you not participating? There is a marker right there.
Wait.
What?
No, she looked, she goes, I don't know. I thought it was not a square.
Okay, let me see. If a parallelogram has okay, the definition, the literal definition of a square is a parallelogram with four right angles and four congruent sides. So a square is a parallelogram.
I know, but I thought if rectangles and rhombus is parallelograms, I thought that was a square wasn't.
A square is a rectangle and rhombus. So we have rectangle, rhombus, square,
What?
parallelogram. Okay. Okay. The angles of a rhombus are how often right angles? Like the angles. The angles like with the sides. But what's a square?
A rhombus.
That's also a.
Okay, but I thought it was only no,
Wait. No, it's a rhombus.
Okay, can we talk about why? Okay, Paxton, tell us. can you hear Paxton? I don't think Colton can hear Paxton. I don't think. Okay, so okay, a square is a rhombus. So if a rhombus has right angles, we classify it as a square. So some rhombuses have 90-degree angles. Thank you for playing. Raise your hand if you got them all right. All right, your homework. Okay, so can I tell you something real quick? I am so sorry that I did not get your quizzes graded. I coached 2 basketball games. Why? I always coach with Kalo for the varsity.
I coached
Kevin Durant. With the bucket. Here goes
I still assist. And by the time I got home, I was so tired. You didn't want me to grade your quizzes.
Why would you give us so much?
I would have probably messed up a lot.
I would have given us so much.
I probably would not have.